All right, so I just saw the Dolly movie. Um, just gonna is just gonna be my opening, but closing thoughts from just seeing the movie. Pretty good. I think it's theater worthy. I haven't seen too much talk about this film. It just came out March 9th, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, like with it being a newer horror movie and it being in theaters, I thought like at least someone would, like especially the horror YouTubers I usually watch. But regardless of that, I think this movie is like a solid like 7.5. Um, I'll be honest, there's no like outrageously like whoa, that's a staple kill. There's one that kind of borders on it, but I'll talk about it later. But uh, I'll just say this: it doesn't really pay off completely. I mean, it kind of does, but not completely. Um, so just like conceptually, as oh, I said conceptually like that, but just from the start, I really loved, like especially when I first saw the trailer, I really loved the porcelain kind of doll look with Dolly, which I think she's like canonically called because that's at least what she's labeled as in the credits. So I guess that's her name. Um, but her design and her like signature weapon is like a shovel. So she kind of just like shovels around and like I'll explain it before, but there's a cool kind of kill with the shovel. Um, but yeah, it's a pretty dope film. I love the grainy aspect. I kind of see why they advertised a little bit like a Tex, Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of inspired film because Dolly is like a child, well not a child, but she basically acts like a child. She makes like baby noises as like she's still like a silent like killer, but like she makes like baby noises and such. But basically, like her family like kind of like with Leatherface, she's kind of like manipulated and like what she becomes in the film is kind of like the cause of like her family trauma. Um, and she kind of like her all her victims like she uses them like as like a like playthings like as a playhouse. It's really cool. This is like I'll say this. I wouldn't go into this film like with. I heard some people saying it's like a slasher, or supposed to be like a slasher. I know I said some people. As some people, I heard like I saw like it was kind of advertised like a slasher. I should say. I don't know why I said some people, but I wouldn't go into it like that. It's more of like a thriller with a little bit of horror. Horrific themes, horrific visuals, but it really like it borders less on like the kills. Like the kills aren't like the main front. It's kind of just about escaping the clutches of a killer. Kind of I guess like Texas Chain wow, my lips. Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a sense. So I can get that comparison because that kind of is like the film like escaping the killers. Um but yeah, I thought this film was overall pretty enjoyable. The only unenjoyable part was the fact that like the rest of the theater was only like technically in total like 10 other people, but the majority of those people were a family. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, they were so annoying. Like that was like the first real experience. I guess it's kind of funny for YouTube, but they were just so chatty and like for some reason like it was a mom and dad. They brought in their three kids, actually no, four kids, and dude, like they just kept talking, and they're on like TikTok and like on their phones. So I'm just like, I had enough. Like the first 20 minutes, I was like, I'll let it go. Maybe they're laughing at the film, and then I noticed they're on their phones. I told the father, I was like, dog, like, can you tell your kids? And he couldn't understand me completely because he speaks Spanish. I was like, can you like please tell your kids to like cut it down a little bit? Like they don't have to be off their phones because I don't. For one thing, I don't get why he had kids in a rated R. Actually, no, I think this movie is non-rated, but it's essentially a rated R film. Why are they in this movie theater? Like, is this a night outing for you? Like, I guess like he just wanted to bring the kids with them, but like even then, like they look like they're like 8 or 10, most of them. They could stay home. I mean, I did as a kid, so I'm like, why are you bringing your kids to this late night movie? And even though it's a pretty vacant indie kind of movie, like no one was really going to it. Like I was literally like when I was looking at the tickets over the week, there was no one booking this movie. But like really, like what was the point of that? Like they couldn't just have them see like there's like literally that Hopper movie that came out with the Disney one. Like you can like sit through that, have them sit through that while you go to the movie that you wanted to see. I'm assuming he wanted to see because he was also on his phone. Like none of them were being attentive, basically. And then there were these guys that are like another seat above me, which weren't too bad, but they were like cracking jokes. I think they were just two friends, so it was like I guess it's fine. But like the family in front of me, I was like, it was killing me that whole time, dude. I wanted to be the killer in that movie. But back to the movie itself, I definitely recommend it. Um, I just saw like In Violent Nature. I know I'm comparing this because at first I thought it was the same director, but it's not. Um, it director of the In Violent Nature was Chris Nash, I think his name was, and this movie is Rod Blackhurst, I think. I have my notes, which I'll elaborate more on, but I think I'm not sure if this is. Oh wait, no, it isn't his first film. What am I talking about? 'Cause he did like Night Swim. That was a I think it was an A24 movie. I don't know, but it was a great movie. I think this like was an independently funded film. At least it seemed like it. Um, but I'll maybe I'll do a little research on that with a full video. This is just the intro, but kind of intro because at this point now it's like 6 minutes. But overall, recommend it, and I guess I don't know. I guess at this point, this was supposed to be like first impressions, but I will just do a quick non-spoiler section. Um, so like the main characters have my notes here. The main three characters that are notable. She doesn't like appear this much in the movie, but you know you have Dolly, of course, the main killer. Then you have Evie, which is the daughter of the father in the film, Chase. Um, he gets supposedly killed in the first few minutes of the film, and I guess I just spoiled it in a sense, but it's not really a spoiler. Um, and then there's this is one thing I like. I guess I just missed it, dude. Like the names were like said once, and then like I was like expecting it like most films to like say it at least another time, so we can like as the audience interpret that. Be like, okay, these are our names, but like it got to a certain point where I was like, and they're like yelling the name for another character, and I was like, what is the name again? I kept like at first I thought like the name for the characters. I got Chase, I got onto that, and I got onto Evie, but she's just in the beginning of the film because Chase drops her off the father um to go on a date with Macy, who I originally thought was Kate, but her name is Macy. She's the girlfriend, and eventually he's going to propose to her over like kind of this trailer they're going on that he used to go to as a kid. But they soon find out that like he was like, this doesn't look like that it used to. Like it's like a bunch of dolls all around in trees and stuff, and it was like it's like kind of like he used to be a Boy Scout and he also used to live up there. But that was like some of the names just like flew past me a little bit. But at the start of the film, which was really cool, I always like this in movies when they have like an opening. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre did this. I forget. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. But I like the opening credits of like kind of like describing not like the backstory, but like saying like, oh, there's this little girl that blah 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 loved dolls, blah 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 blah, but her father, parents, blah 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 blah, and now she hurts or something. And she wants to be a mother, because her mother died, and that kind of like gives you like I guess kind of the backstory a little bit of Dolly, but it goes like kind of quick. I wish they kept that up for a couple more seconds, but it's fine. And then another like pretty cool thing, kind of like how Weapons did recently. The movie's kind of like in chapters. Um, Not really like drastically different chapters. I think they just split it off from going scene to scene. Um, Honestly, to a certain degree, I don't get the point of them doing it. For certain scenes, it kind of flows better if it is split off um in chapters. But they have like chapter names. I wasn't able to catch all of them, but like some of them I was able to catch was like I should have it down. Jeez. Uh Shoot. I swear I had it down. Well, like one of them was like fight, and it's like a scene where like the final girl like fights um Dolly, and there's a chapter four like father, and it's kind of like a little bit from this perspective of Chase, who is the father of Evie, like I said earlier. Um, but yeah, I will talk about more of this in spoilers because there is a couple spoiler stuff. Because this movie is only like an hour 34, I think, or hour 24. Jesus, I should have looked this up again. But it was like it isn't a long movie, so like you'll be in and out. So I love that about it. I wish there are more horror. I mean, there are horror films that are, but like they're starting to border on like really long. But like I think Ready or Not 2 is going to be a pretty short film, like the first one too. So that's pretty dope. But passing on to spoiler section, and thank you for watching this part of the video.
Okay, so spoiler section. Um, I just want to preface first, dude. This movie will give me nightmares, and I love that. And not really because what happens in the movie, a little bit, but not completely. Um, just the design of Dolly. It's so creepy. Like I feel like we all know this, but like dolls are so uncanny looking, especially those porcelain doll ones that just a killer having the mask like in the glass parts of a porcelain doll and it just being just the whole character is so creepy. Like and like the fact that they added like those baby noises like that, basically Dolly makes throughout the whole movie. Even when she like gets mad, she's like talking to jeez, I forgot her name and I just saw the movie. But she's like talking to Macy, um, like scolding her for trying to escape. She's like, it's so weird, but it's so creepy too. Um, just the whole like concept of this movie is just really cool. Like, um, just another film kind of like adjacent to this, just like having a cool concept. Except I think this one didn't do it best execution wise. Is like in a violent nature, which I said earlier. I think um I just think that movie, like, regardless of it being kind of an indie esque film, um, I guess not esque, it is indie film. Um, it's just like cool concept, but like the direction of the film just wasn't like completely satisfying to me. And in terms of like concepts, like novel or kind of like different concepts, I think this movie Dolly pulls it off. And just to like go back on me saying this doesn't really feel like a slasher. It is. There's some chases. Of course I can go into this now because the spoilers. But like there's a couple kills. Like she does kill like other people in this film, but it's like only like two others. So the real kills that I like to say are like the ranger that happens at like near the end of the film. Um she basically just clean chops the head off with a shovel. Like it's really always like a nice head chop off kill. Like whatever way is done. And then she like lifts the head and like kind of like plays with it. She's like, I think it's in the trailer. She goes like, ha 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 ha, kind of like teasing and messing around with Macy trying to like get in her head so she can get out. But it's that kill, and then she kills her father, who like tries to manipulate her into getting him to leave because she has him like locked up in like the house because the house was originally his, but ever since the mother died, like I guess Dolly just like she grew up because dude, Dolly's on that 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 Michael Myers, Jason Roy. She's huge, so she's just a force of nature, and her father is too. Like he's really built as well, but they're both huge. But like Dolly, I guess has more of a supernatural kind of strength. She can like lift people with one hand, or um most most of these slasher killers, at least the big boys, can just like punch a hole through someone or like chop them with a shovel with like one thrust. Um, but the other kills, so to say, I think my favorite kill in the film is it starts off it's a kind of a fake out kill with the father Chase who wants to propose again, I'll say it. He wants to propose to Macy, but he does the typical horror trope of like, I'm gonna check out that noise because at the beginning of the film, there's kind of like um a wind up doll that Dolly listens to, and I'm not really sure if it's her trying to bait them in, if she even is aware of them being in the forest, but um she's like setting out like we see at the beginning of the film. She has one of her victims and the head's chopped off and she's like chopping off that person's fingers. I think it's a dude, but whatever. Um and I guess she's just done playing with it. So she just like digs up a grave and then throws it. So something I kind of like, maybe I'm looking too into it, but I kind of just guessed all there's a bunch of dolls around the forest, almost like thousands of them, and in our house as well. I think it's like playing on the fact that like she's kind of childish, like playing dollhouse with like people, but at the same time like playing mother essentially, but at the same time like I think the dolls kind of like signify all her victims because towards the later of the film, the ranger, he goes like, oh, we got another person talking about um seeing a doll headed lady that's trying to kill them, and I think it kind of just infers that yeah, she has more victims. She's had more victims ever since then, and all the dolls kind of like signify that. That's just me assuming, but whatever. Um, Another kill. Oh, okay. Let me go back. Um, so he goes. Chase. He goes inside of the forest to look for the noise, and then he sees the back of Dolly, and man, I was just like, dude, I totally would have not done that. Like, he was about to propose to, um, he was about to propose to Macy, and then he heard the noise, and he goes like, oh, I'm gonna go check it out. And at first, at the start of the film, when they're dropping off Evie, um, Macy's she's kind of jaded. Like she doesn't want, she wants to marry him. She really loves him, but she doesn't want to be a mother. And it's kind of like a what's the word? Um, I guess I'll just say a contrast with her not wanting to be a mother, and then Dolly, which she like faces basically as like the main character, um, and Final Girl, against Dolly. Like Dolly wants to be a mother, but she doesn't know how to be a mother. Kind of like how um geez, Macy. I'm trying to remember names. I have my notes right here and I keep forgetting. Um and I how Macy doesn't want to be a mother. So it's kind of a cool like contrast between um the MC and the antagonist. Um so back to like the first kill, I guess in a sense. So Chase gets chased. he he gets knocked down by Dolly, and she while he's on the ground, like kind of like his nose is bleeding. Um, he like shovels like just like presses down and like kind of like mangles his knee, well I guess his leg, but like it's kind of like the knee area, and that's kind of like mangled and like hanging out. And then like she goes for his face and chops like his whole jaw. It's just like it's just on a hinge, just like falling off. And you think like he dies because he's like she like puts him to a corner, and then like I guess like some time goes by and Macy starts looking for him, and then she sees his body and it looks like he's a corpse now. Um but later like in another chapter, I guess the chapter labeled Father, um he is still alive. His jaw still obviously just like yeah, like, he's cooked. He's not getting that look back. Um but he can't walk, so he crawls on his two arms. Like, dude really loves his girl because he was still moving to find her. Um, so he's just trying to find her, and then later on in the film, he does actually die, and I think this is probably the coolest kill in the film because there's not many kills. Again, there's really only like I think I would count like four kills, maybe five if you count the start of the movie with um the beginning victim, and she's just playing with it until she buries it and gets tired of it, like cutting off the fingers and the head's already off. But basically, like she unhinges the jaw further and just rips it off, and he just dies. Um, and that was like pretty cool. There's nothing like in this movie that's like I wouldn't go into it being like, I'm gonna see a really cool kill. I will go into it with the mindset of this is a cool um new concept. I was also like at the end, they hinted towards a sequel. Like literally they said, hey guys, there's gonna be a sequel kind of in a comedic way. And then like the end of it was a little comedic with a lot of the sheriffs and the rangers reporting like, hey, we have evidence now that this doll like being that's in the forest exists, and we don't know who they're talking to. They're kind of at the doorstep of, I guess, is maybe actual police or something, but they're like hinting towards there being a dolly too. And I'm curious how the sequel's going to go because by the end, we don't really see Dolly die necessarily, but like I feel like it's pretty conclusive. But I guess she doesn't really die again, so I think they could still do something with it. I hope they like maybe change settings because I do think the middle of the forest setting kind of fairy tale um like she what's the fairy tale with the fat kid and the fat little girl, um they get left in the forest by their parents. Gosh, what is that called with the witch? Uh Jeez. Grimm's fairy tales, blah 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 blah. What is it called? I'm just gonna look it up. Sorry, I shouldn't be on my phone. The fairy tale with the two, like little German children, two children in the forest. I hope this is specific enough because I'm just Hansel and Gretel. I mean, you guys probably figured out what I was talking about, but Hansel and Gretel. It's kind of Hansel and Gretel ish. Um, Macy kind of getting taken away into a forest with this like very creepy entity. Um, and she gets dressed up. She has like a normal, tank top and jeans. But and when she's captured by Dolly, she's like dressed up like a doll, like a porcelain doll. She has like little like sandals and like a frilly dress. So it's like really she gets like a binky. But everything in this movie was really, really well done also. I like the grainy filter that they do. Very, I was reading a couple minutes ago about how Rod or Mr. Blackhurst. He was inspired by like 1970s slashers and 1980s slashers. So I think that was really cool. I'm gonna get a little bit of moments that I really stood out to me. That was pretty fun to watch, but also kind of disturbing. There's a scene where Dolly's like kind of punishing, because there's a lot of moments where Macy tries to escape, but all the doors are like boarded off, so she kind of can't, and she gets talked to by a person on the wall, who we soon find out is the father locked up that really just wants to escape so he can manipulate Dolly again, and also like it's implied that he wants to, do that RAPE to Macy um later in the film when he like kidnaps her as well. But he doesn't get away with it because Dolly like kills him. Which is another kill I forgot to mention. He gets like bludgeoned in the head by the shovel. And like by Dolly's fists a little bit. But yeah, there's a scene where Dolly's punishing punishing Macy for not eating her food, and it's really creepy. First it like starts out with like this really weird green looking baby food. I mean, baby food in general is slop. It looks really weird, but they she's trying to feed her that. She spits it out, Macy, and then Dolly is like, "Oh, you're not eating your food. What a baby." Doesn't really say that, but she does the baby noises. And she's like, she does like all this silent, like kind of like terrifier mime like expressions, which I think was really cool thing to do, just to give it more character. Um, so then she brings out this milk, which clearly looks like some rotted, chunky milk, and Macy tries sipping it down because she starts accepting her role so she can play the game. She's told at the start um of her little journey in the house by the person on the wall who's the father, um to just play along, and she does it for a little bit, but then she finally accepts it in certain moments. But she doesn't drink down the milk, she spits it out, and then Dolly's like really mad, so then she unravels her top and she takes out her bare breast, and it's like, is this really happening? And then she so like this is a really horrific scene. She Dolly puts it to Macy's mouth, and at first like you're thinking like, oh, I guess he's really going to accept this and try to figure out a way through this, but then Macy bites the nipple off, and like you see like all the blood burst out, and it's like, um what's her name? Dolly, jeez. Dolly like falls on the ground in pain, and that's when like Macy tries getting away, but just at the last minute, Dolly catches up. Dolly's really quick. I mean, this is all slashers, but Dolly's really quick for as big as she is. Like she's like a 7 foot freaking monster, but she still moves so freaking fast without making a sound. Um, as usual with these types. Um, so that was a really cool scene. Also, like the paddle scene, she punishes her with the paddle for trying to fight back. She puts her on her stomach, Macy, and she gets a big old slap paddle and just like slaps her on the butt. That was really funny. There's another creepy scene where she changes her diaper because the first time she sees her like full body for real Macy, and she's in like this little doll suit. Like it's like the first scene she's like in a crib, and first scene in the house, and she sees Dolly, like as she looks up, she's like, and the camera pans down to her legs, and she's just pissing herself, and that was like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would do that too, cause she's terrifying. Dolly's freaking terrifying. Um, but yeah, the practical effects were really nice with the kills. I'll say that. Like, even if there isn't that many kills, there are some like moments, like another moment with Macy. She like rips Dolly like rips off her ear when she finds Macy goes down in the basement to find this key that she was told by the guy in the wall, the father, to find to try to unlock the doors. for her escape. And that I feel like this was just a cool scene to see in theaters. It's such a creepy basement. There's like all these dolls that are like all around. If you played Silent Hill after like the little doll monster thing, it kind of looks like that. But there's all these lights and candles, all the dolls, and then like in the center of that, there's the key, but there's a real head. I don't know what the head is, but there's a real. I mean, who the head is, but there's a real head on top of attached to this doll with the key wrapped around the neck. And by the end of that, she gets the key, but then Dolly's like right behind her, and she pulls her by the ear, like Big Mama style, and just drags her all the way up the stairs to the point where the ear starts detaching, and then it just like the jaw of poor old Chase. Man, poor Evie. I mean, I I doubt Macy's going to be a very sane person. By the end of the film, she's like laughing in a very insane fashion. Even though she escaped, she's like clearly not going to be in the right shape anymore after all that. Um, but the ear thing was just so cool. And then like Dolly tries stitching up because she's like still babying her, like she has her on her lap and like trying to baby her. It's just the whole film's like really like her trying to be motherly and also like at the same time like punishing her in like very brutal fashions, which is really just neat things to see. Um, Not to drag this on too much because now I'm just describing a lot of the film. Um, yeah, I think I said pretty much everything. There's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. I feel like it's worth seeing. Um, like if I was to say any negatives, I mean, my I'll try to say this. I think I said it before, but positive. I love that this film is an hour 24. I love it when movies are like that. It's just so good, especially horror movies. Sometimes horror movies drag it out. Like they're the one genre that like if it drags out, it's like so boring. Like at least with like action films, if they drag it out, like sometimes they try to fill it in with comedy or at least the action's kind of neat. But with horror films, like oh my gosh, like unless the actors are really, which the actors I would say are really doing a good job, unless the actors are putting in an effort or they're directed to put in like a real like Oscar worthy I guess effort, like the characters aren't really compelling enough to like attach yourself to. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. um but in this instance I feel like I was pretty attached to Macy's journey and trying to see her escape and Chase trying to save her, but ultimately just dying in the end. I was like, dude, I get you love this girl, but I ain't gonna lie. I would have left to go home to my daughter, try to find a way out because his whole jaw was just off and like his leg was bangled. At that point, there was no way you were to save her. He like makes a final stand to try to save her, but it's really just you know a a failed attempt. He did give her some time to get away, I guess, but still. Um yeah, but back to I guess negatives. I mean like the reason why I feel like I gave this like a 7.5, this isn't a perfect film to me. I feel like there's just needs a little extra something. I don't know what it is, but just needs a little extra something to it. It's just missing. I don't know if it's maybe just like a little bit more characters besides from just the one, two, three, I guess, and then Dolly. But I feel like maybe that was something that could maybe it could have needed more runtime to give a little bit more, um, not character to the characters, but a little bit more characters to fill in some of the blanks. But it is just in a vacant forest. Maybe in the next film they change setting. Maybe Dolly goes into town. Maybe that could be the name. Dolly 2 goes into town. Like that'd be pretty funny. But she gets. I mean, well, what am I saying? Let me just end it here. I don't think I have any negatives, but that's just the rating I kind of like fell on. And I do recommend this film. Like I feel like it's still like an overall really good film. Very solid, very entertaining all the way through. And you won't be there long. Um so with that being said, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, all that junk, and bye bye.
Jari. So I don't know why I said it's not a slasher when it is a slasher. I mean, it's a masked killer, so it counts. It just didn't have the vibes of it. I think I meant. So that's all really. It is a slasher. Just I guess not traditional slasher in my own brain.